We are live.
Thank you. Good afternoon. Welcome to the joint meeting of the Glendale City Council and the Glendale Housing Authority being called to order at exactly 3:01 for this January 25th, 2022. To help slow transmission of COVID-19 and protect the health and safety of the community, City Council, as well as board and commission meetings, will continue to be closed to the public for in-person attendance. Public is encouraged, though, to watch and participate in the safety of their homes to practice social distancing. Meetings are broadcast live on Glendale TV, viewable on Spectrum Cable Channel 6 and AT&T UVerse Channel 99. Meetings are also streamed live in high definition on the city's webpage, glendaleca.gov/live, on youtube.com/myglendale, and on Apple TV, Roku, and Amazon Fire devices using a free app called ScreenWeave and choosing Glendale TV from the menu. For public comments, for public comments and questions during the meeting, please call 818-937-8100. Public comments on a specific agenda item will be taken when that agenda item is discussed. So with that, may we have roll call for City Council?
Councilmember Agajanian,
Present.
Brotman,
Here.
Kasakian,
Here.
Najarian,
Here.
and Mayor Devine.
Here.
Thank you. May we have roll call for housing?
Authority Member Agajanian,
Present.
Agajanian,
Present.
Brotman,
Here.
Devine,
Here.
Najarian,
Here.
Parazian,
Here.
Chair Kasakian.
Here. Thank you.
Thank you. And may we have your report?
The agenda for the Tuesday, January 25th, 2022 joint public meeting of the City Council and Housing Authority was posted on January 18th, 2022 on the bulletin board outside City Hall.
Thank you. And next,
Next would be number 1, Community Service and Parks report regarding fiscal year 2019-2020 Annual Action Plan Substantial Amendment for Community Development Block Grant, CDBG. Emergency Solutions Grant, ESG, and Home Investment Partnership Act to reprogram returned CDBG CV1 CARES Act funding for Senior Nutrition Services Program. A, City Council motion approving the reprogramming of $257,500 in U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development Community Development Block Grant, Coronavirus Round 1, funds received under the Coronavirus Aid Relief and Economic Security Act of 2020. Returned from the Small Business Grant Program to the Senior Nutrition Service Program as recommended by the Director of Community Service and Parks, authorizing submission of the fiscal year 2019-2020 Annual Action Plan Substantial Amendment to HUD and authorizing City Manager or his designee to execute all agreements, amendments, certifications, and documents necessary to carry out the reprogramming of the funds and to accept and implement the funding of the Senior Nutrition Service Programs. B, City Council resolution of appropriations to transfer $257,500 from CDBG CV1 Small Business Grant Program to CDBG CV1 Senior Nutrition Service Program to be expended through June 30th, 2026. C, City Council motion authorizing the city manager or designee to execute Amendment 8 with Bateman Community Living LLC DBHPO Community Meals to increase the price per meal by 10% and add additional $45,628 to provide additional meals to seniors through the Elderly Nutrition Program for a total contract price, including past and future increases, not to exceed $2,095,484. And D, Housing Authority motion approving the reprogramming of $257,500 in the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development Community Development Block Grant Coronavirus Round 1, funds received under the Coronavirus Aid Relief and Economic Security Act of 2020, returned from Small Business Grant Program to the Senior Nutrition Service Program as recommended by the Director of Community Service and Parks, and authorizing submission of the fiscal year 2019-2020 Annual Act Plan Substantial Amendment to HUD.
thank you. Thank you. Mr. Galanian?
Yes, good afternoon, Mayor Devine, members of City Council, Chair Kasakian, members of the Housing Authority. That was quite a description of this item. So Without any further ado, I'll turn it over to Mr. Onik Bolinikian, Director of Community Service and Parks, for a brief presentation.
Okay.
Thank you. Good afternoon, Mayor Devine, members of the council, Housing Authority Chair Kasaki, members of the Housing Authority. Real quick, I have a brief presentation on what we're requesting. Just a little background on the CARES Act. CARES Act funding was approved by the federal government to prevent, prepare, and respond to COVID-19. CDBG CV1 Round 1 was allocated and given to the city of Glendale in the amount of $1,175,000 back in June of 2020. CDBG CV2 Round 2 went to the states. As CDBG CV3 Round 3, we received $1,615,000 in late 2020. The CARES Act Round 1, City Council and the Housing Authority allocated the $1,175,000 to 3 programs. The first program was the Emergency Rental Assistance Program in the amount of $572,500. That program assisted 310 families with emergency rental assistance. The second program was a Small Business Grant Program in the amount of $572,500. That program assisted 63 businesses. There were a total of 114 grants available, and that provided grants to 63 businesses in the amount of $257,500. And then the third program is the Senior Nutritional Meals Program in the amount of $30,049. Those funds were allocated to the Community Service and Parks Department to expand our meal delivery service. The $315,000 for the small grant program, $5,000 per grant to businesses due to COVID hardship. This was administered through the CDD, Economic Development. And there were 3 rounds of lottery that were available to eligible businesses. As I mentioned earlier, there were 387 applications submitted, 114 grants that were available, and 63 grants that were approved. So there's a total of $257,500 left from the Small Business Grant Program that we would like to allocate and reprogram to the Senior Nutritional Meals Program that is run by the Community Service and Parks Department. These funds will allow the program to serve a little under 60,000 meals through the end of June of 2022. The LA County funding that we received for this program was exhausted mid-year due to the demand for senior meals. As I mentioned last year during our budget presentation, we increased our meal delivery and meal service from 3,500 meals per month up to 14,000 meals per month. We currently serve between 10 to 10,500 meals per month. The caterer as well has increased the meal rate by 10% effective February 1st. This is the first increase in the last 4 years that the caterer has provided us. And the LA County, if LA County provides additional funding, CARES Act will be used through 2026 to fill in the gaps for additional meals that we will need for our seniors. So staff is requesting to approve and reprogram the return $257,000 in CDBG funds from the Small Business Grant to Senior Nutritional Meals Program, and to approve the submission of the fiscal year 2019-2020 Annual Action Plan substantial amendment, and also to adopt a motion for the city manager to execute Amendment 8 with the caterer to increase the price per meal by 10%, which will increase the contract in the amount of $45,628. I'll be more than happy to take any questions. I also have Maggie Kavarian on the call, our Senior Community Service Supervisor overseeing the meals program.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Bolinikian. Any comments, questions from council? I'm not seeing. No comments?
Councilmember
Or mute. I'm sorry,
Agajanian has a question.
Councilmember Agajanian, go ahead.
Comments, then question, if I can make it now, Madam Mayor.
Go
It's a
ahead.
comment that I have is, say, for one, I don't like the idea of moving the money which was allocated for small businesses to this program. Although this program I really like, and I'm glad that we can help those who desperately need help. So this gonna help more people. But money we have allocated to businesses. There are 387 businesses. They applied 114 grants. Available was 114, but the grant approved for 63. I was hoping that the balance of the money we could reallocate to the same project and see if there is more businesses who need help. It's not that they are, some of the businesses, whether it's grocery store or that type of businesses, they're thriving. And there are certain other businesses, but mostly there is such a dire situation, especially Omicron came around and ruined everything. So I was hoping that money would be reallocated and we would look for more businesses to help them. That's one concern I have. The second matter I have is that this business, I forgot the name of the business, whatever, who's providing, they are allocating millions of dollars to help us, to help the seniors, raise the price by 10%. I know everything now is more expensive than before, but all of a sudden they just came around and we approved in a very short period of time. And the other thing is, the third concern I have is, we are adding to the contract like 40,000, 200,000 or whatever. Without looking, see if there is anybody else. Maybe this is the best business or offering the lowest price possible. I do not know until we ask, until we try to get somebody else involved. Because some businesses, they think, okay, this is the business you guys are working with. Why to bother? I'm never gonna get anything from this city. So just, I don't want to stop this now. But as I said, my concern is the money allocated for a small business. I wish we would keep it in that fold and it would look for more businesses. As I said, they're in dire situation. The second is constantly we adding to, what's the name of this business? I have it, but I can't remember who provides the senior meals. What's the name?
Bateman.
Bateman Community.
Bateman, right. Bateman Community, yeah. Bateman. On a regular basis, we continuously be adding and adding to their contract. I do not know if that's a good practice. Usually when they see is a competition, they do better. Although they are charging very $3 and something. Now they want to raise it, but however, that's, in my opinion, is an excellent price. But still, we don't know. It's $3.96. They want $4.36, $4.36 now. But it's better to go out and try, not to. We got stuck with this business, and it bothers me. Anyway, that's my comment.
Thank you. So, Mr. Bolinikian, maybe you can address and Mr. Galanian address his concern about, are we finished subsidizing small businesses? Could we reenact that program? And number two, is this contract with Bateman the best that we can do? Have you researched that?
Mayor Devine, members of the council, Housing Authority Chair Kasakian, members of the Housing Authority. Bateman was the cheapest when we went out to RFP 4 years ago. Bayman was the cheapest. Bayman is a LA County approved vendor, and there are a number of vendors that have reached out to us asking to be on the list, and we have referred them to LA County to be on the preferred senior meals list. Once when the RFP process opens up in the next couple of years, we will go at an RFP and see if we can find the cheapest vendor. The reason for the increase to the contracts is COVID. If we were serving 3,500 to 4,000 meals per month, without COVID, the contract would have been the same. Due to COVID, we need to continue to increase the contract because our service delivery is increasing. We need more meals. We need more preparation. Hence the reason why we come back to council and amend the contracts.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions, comments? Please raise your hands. I'm trying to look around.
Well,
Okay, Councilmember Brotman.
I don't think you, Mr. Bulanikian, I don't think you answered the second part. I am interested in hearing, whether the program has kind of fully exhausted its opportunities. And if we were to revive the program, how would we cover the cost for senior meals?
Are you talking about the business program?
Yeah, because that was the other part of Councilmember Agajanian's question is, have we really truly exhausted the need there? And, but I'm also thinking if we were to kind of reopen that, let's say, then how would we have enough for the senior meals program?
From what I've seen and heard through staff is we have. There have been many business assistance programs through LA County, through the state that businesses have applied. And I believe one of our requirements were that in order to be eligible for the $5,000 grant, the business would not be able to apply for other sorts of funding through, let it be the federal government, LA County, or state. But I will defer to Phil Lanzafine.
Apologies for coming in late. The question, I think, is the business assistance grant. We had a lot of difficulty in qualifying businesses because of what Mr. Bulanikian just said, that federal requirement that you could have no other assistance. And the second biggest reason for disqualification was they could not meet the income test, had to have more than half of your staff of low incomes. We ran 3 different rounds of this program, the last being in June of last year. Of 97 applications, 85 of them were disqualified, and so we were left with 12. We could pick up anybody else with our other Measure S business assistance program, but we just felt that we had exhausted this. We did 3 rounds, July of 2020, November of 2020, and then June of 2021. And we just weren't getting the applications and thought the money would be better served with this program.
Madam Mayor,
Yes, Councilmember Agajanian, go ahead.
I just, Mr. Brotman raised a good question. We removed what was allocated to store owners, helping the store owners. I think even if we take the money back, will not be this program, senior meals program will not be affected because, as has been said by Mr. Bulanikian, we could try to feed 14,000 or provide 14,000 meals. At this time, with the maximum we are providing is 10,500. So it's not as such that not adding from business grant to senior meals, if small businesses, senior meals will not be affected. That's what I wanted to add.
Mayor Devine, members of the council, Councilmember Agajanian, members of the Housing Authority. If the 257,000 is not reprogrammed to the senior meals program, we will run out of funds, senior meal funds. We won't have any funds to pay for the meals.
I'm sorry, I'm sorry, Madam Mayor, didn't you say you could serve 14,000 meals? Am I right?
We serve, the reason for the increase, the many amendments for abatement contract, the reason for that increase was due to the increased meals that we were serving during the pandemic. So our original contract was for 3,500 meals. We increased it at the height at 14,000 meals. So the reason why we continue to come back to council to increase the contract is because of the increase in meals that we're providing due to COVID-19.
No, but right now you said between 10 and 10,500 meals you are providing to the seniors.
Currently, with the LA County funds that we have, but the LA County funds will be used up by the end of this month.
Okay, that's fine.
Councilmember Brotman, any further delving? Okay, Councilmember Najarian.
I mean, this is a tough issue. Certainly, we want to help our businesses, but we're talking about meals to the seniors who probably otherwise would not eat or go hungry. So that's a tough balance. I love our businesses and would love to help them, but I mean, the most vulnerable of the vulnerable, I've got to go with the senior meal program. So.
Okay, Councilmember Kasakian.
Madam Mayor, I know that it has not been an easy go during the pandemic, but certainly there have been many opportunities for businesses to receive support and funding from the SBA to the city that decided to add an additional layer of support. Certainly the federal government and state government have lended support. That's not to say that it has been successful in helping everyone, but we certainly have done our share as well. Whereas our seniors are very vulnerable. And I think that this is a reasonable proposal being brought forth by community development. Although I understand some of the concerns of my colleagues, I still support staff's recommendation. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Parazian or Jimmy?
Yes.
Yes,
Madam
go
Mayor.
ahead, Laura.
Okay.
Go ahead, Authority Member
Madam Mayor.
Parazian, go ahead.
Okay. I agree with my colleagues, Arvi Kasakian and Mr. Najarian, that the most vulnerable are the seniors, and I'm with the meals for seniors.
Madam
Okay.
Mayor.
Thank you. Councilmember Agajanian.
As I said in the beginning, I said I don't have problem with moving, but I'm just want to make sure that next time we allocate money to stay with that, what have allocate for different layers of businesses or seniors.
We're
to,
having a problem
money
with-
which has allocated, try to spend it where from the beginning we allocate.
Right.
That's I want to say. Always been hurting the seniors, and I have, as I said in the beginning, I have no problem to spend this money now since they went through. As I said in the beginning, I have no problem, but I just want to prevent next time we are allocating the money not to be transferred easily from one project to another. With that, I want to move the item if there is no other.
Well, I'd like to hear from Mr. Aginian. Do you have any comments, Authority Member? Aginian. Mute. Unmute. Unmute. You're on mute.
Oh,
There you.
okay. Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you now.
I'd just like to know what is the threshold on the qualification for the grant, assistance grant? What is the threshold? Is there a threshold?
We're looking for businesses that had at least 51% of their employee human resource of low incomes. So 80% AMI or less.
And the reason I asked that is because is it possible to somehow recalculate that threshold or readjust that threshold so that could be much more feasible?
Not with the federal regulations that were in play here.
Okay.
With the Measure S grant, the council was able to make some changes. In fact, you did amend the program a couple of times, not so much with the federal dollars.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, well, I agree with my colleagues that I think we used this funding, this grant funding, in the way it was prioritized. Now we've come to the point where we have businesses that are getting support from the state, the federal government, et cetera. And because of other regulations, we've kind of exhausted that program. So I am in agreement that we should do the transfer. And I think with that, I will take a motion for 1A, B, and C.
I would like to move item A and B and C.
Thank you.
Please.
All right, I think the seniors will be very appreciative. Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Seconded by Councilmember Brotman. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Agajanian,
Yes.
Brotman,
Yes.
Kasakian,
Yes.
Najarian,
Yes.
Mayor Devine.
Yes, yes, yes. I think we need to take care of our most vulnerable. That's for sure. And with that, next is adjournment.
Is there a housing authority item on that?
Yes. Is there?
There are no
Oh,
callers
yeah,
for this item.
1D.
I'll move one, the Housing Authority.
Second.
Yeah, we've had roll call. And were there any callers on this, Mr. Ajamian?
There are no callers for this item.
Okay. May we have roll call, please?
Authority Member Ajinian,
Yes.
Agajanian,
Yes.
Brotman,
Yes.
Devine,
Yes?
Najarian,
Yes.
Parazian,
Yes.
and Chair Kasakian.
Yes. Thank you.
Okay, I think that does it. Next item. is
The adjournment.
adjourn- For City Council, please.
Move to adjourn.
And for housing authority?
Move to adjourn.
Second.
Thank you.
Okay, we are adjourned at 3:29. Thank you all very much.
you.
See you at 6.
And we have no closed session, is that right?
No,
No,
closed
no
session.
closed session.
No closed session.
See you at 6.
6.